Okay, so
Alegord is back in my memory. He has returned to
very good.
existence.
Now, unfortunately, the fourth person was not able to make it, but I think you're still going to have a fun enough time dealing with this yourself.
You get to hear the speech of all speeches.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Good to
It is
see,
inspiration.
see Henry with his lightsaber. Cut through anything.
So, do you remember the first half of this chapter then?
Yes, I think so. Did it begin with William?
Yes, it began with William waking up, lying down, or walking away from the island.
Yes, on the road, yes. Very, very populated, nobody's there. People constantly coming and going to drop dead bodies off, but they haven't done it in like 30 years. But they're still doing it every day. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And him not noticing there's a giant monster directly behind him.
Well, I mean, you'll understand later, but at the time he was walking on all fours like an animal, so he was moving
slower.
Slower. Well, in this story, yeah.
Speed mode. That could be like beast mode.
Well, you need to remember, horses are slower than people in this world, and people walk on 2 feet. And horses have 4.
That's right. Yeah, so he had to he had to pace himself by doing all 4s. Yeah, because he was wounded.
I am trying to remember. Did we end with talking about throwing stones, or did we end with the switch to Alegord?
We ended with the switch to Alegord.
Yes.
Okay.
Galactic.
Oh, all right. Well, the beautiful chapter part 2.
Oh yeah, wasn't William a prince now?
Yeah, we also found out that he's a prince that didn't believe in demons, but has been fighting them for years.
Nah, that whole, I can't even remember any reasoning regarding what people believe about demons anymore. They got too hairy. I can't remember now. They know about them. They know about them, but they don't.
Well, they know about them, but they don't believe in them. But they do never bury... I guess they never bury their dead.
Oh, that's only criminals. They're dead criminals.
Well, it doesn't fucking matter. You would still... I would think, like... I don't know much about medieval, like, dealing with fucking corpses of criminals, but I would assume that they would still get buried.
You would typically bury them.
Like, the family would still be like, why are we receiving a scarecrow? Well, we had to feed the demon.
Shut up! You committed a crime. You don't get the body. Yeah, so that's going on. The whole demons eating dead bodies, but they aren't anymore. But they are still.
Well, no, they've always been doing it in this dimension of the story.
Yeah, and yet Gluttony hasn't eaten in a long time.
Different dimension. Different dimension. We shifted to another one in this chapter.
So now we're going with the ultimate dimension theory. Okay, this is a new one. I like this one. It fits, maybe. Okay, you can start the chat.
Alegord was working in the garden when he heard the bell ringing. This is the first mention of a bell. Also, if you're not looking at it, for some reason the start of this paragraph is centered, but the rest of the paragraph is not.
Yes. It's like it's the title. That's the whole title of the chapter.
This is just the title of the second half of the chapter. It's just a partial sentence. It meant that something serious was, moving back to the actual paragraph, on. Wait.
It
meant that something serious was on in the castle.
Yeah. You can't stop it now. It's on.
Just every time a fucking bar fight starts, someone has to run up and ring the fucking bell.
Oh, God. Oh, this is going to be a fun night.
He rushed out of the garden. He saw soldiers running towards the meeting hall, which is now the third hall listed in this fucking fort.
Yep.
He I'm gonna give up on the double spacing thing. We will actually be here until like 4 a.m. He followed behind them. There were already some soldiers that were gathered in the meeting hall. Some soldiers were still gathering. The fortress had about 150 soldiers and about 11 knights.
Huh.
Okay.
Glad the census is just now being made.
It's kind of a sparse force, but that's okay.
Is Alegord in charge of the knights or the soldiers?
If you don't remember, if you can't recall, he gave up and became a gardener because
Really?
he was not doing the tasks that weren't told to him, even though he was doing it well and doing everything in the castle.
Okay. I don't remember that.
Yeah, so
I remember
he
not
just,
doing it and then almost getting assassinated. And then he just came back like nothing happened.
It was a chapter after that. It was like a page long, or a page or two long. It was just Henry shit-talking him and saying that his mother was a whore.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, after that, he just shrugged his shoulders and started messing with, like, mint and thyme.
Jesus, Alegord. What was Henry doing? What is Alegord doing? It's crazy.
Also, before I continue on to the next paragraph, I would just like to remind you that the first half of this chapter started with a focus on William, then switched over to Henry, switched back to William, switched back to Henry, and now in this part 2 we have switched again to Alegord, all within the same chapter.
Yes.
I don't think that's how you're supposed to do it, but I mean, hey.
It'd usually be some sort of a break between the characters. I don't know how you denounce it, but at least a break.
All the soldiers in the fortress had gathered in the meeting hall. They were waiting for instructions on what was coming or what would happen next. They were all surprised at the bell that had been sounded because most of them had yet to see any threat. Although some people that had run to the fortress from the village that was attacked by Glutoni were knocking at the gate and waiting for the soldiers at the gate to open the gate for them so they could take refuge in the fortress. Fuck, that's a sentence.
It's a very slow situation. They're sitting there waiting. Villagers are pounding at the gate. Nobody's doing anything.
How many uses of the word gate fucking were there? Only 3. Interesting.
With all that mouthful, it seemed like a lot.
The soldiers were asking themselves whether either of them knew.
Wait, what?
Two? The entire thing is just two fucking soldiers asking why the bell was sounded? Why does Alegord care about these two fucking soldiers? The soldiers were asking themselves whether either of them knew why the bell was sounding, but they were all in the dark, and none of them had a clear answer. That's just
I don't even know if
poorly
it's
worded.
Alegord understand. It just switched back to narrative mode where it was just discussing a couple guards.
Henry then walked into the meeting hall. He was followed by the knights in the fortress, and they stood behind him. They were all dressed for battle. Henry walked and stood before the soldiers.
Henry.
I know some of you will... His weird fucking joined words is just fucking difficult to wrap my head around. It's not wrong, but I don't know of anyone that has ever said, I know some of you'll be wouldn't it always be I know some of you will be surprised?
Yeah, that Yule, I don't think is proper. Yule, I've never really used it or heard it. Yule,
I mean, it's not technically wrong. It's just he places them in such odd spots.
It's just that conjunction, or compound word, I really don't think I've ever used. Yule. Maybe. I don't remember. But Yule? Yule? That just sounds weird.
In other sentences, you'll go here, or something like that. It sounds right. I mean, again, I'm probably just being an idiot. I think it's just the location of the word in these sentences and their spastic use so far. It just gets me, and I don't know why.
That does sound weird. Some of you will be surprised, combining it together in weird spots. I think it's supposed to be specifically targeted at people rather than a general group. Maybe that's what it is.
Possibly. I know some of you'll be surprised about why we're gathered, but I want you all to know that we're under a big threat right now. This fortress is under a big threat. If you don't know, maybe those that are currently at the gate would be able to tell you what is happening there right now. So wait, is he leaving the people that are guarding the fucking gate in the dark?
No, they're the only ones who know. But it doesn't, is he just leaving the villagers outside? Are the gate
no, because
people
he said
not
they're
at this
currently
meeting?
at the gate, so the gate people, the people guarding the gate aren't there. But the way, Bell important thing is, you would think that, they would be here to listen up.
Yeah, I don't know the layout of this. This castle is just a confusing place.
People from a nearby village have gathered before the gate and are trying to access the castle, Henry said, and then paused for a moment. Alegord looked surprised while listening to Henry. He wondered if Henry had gathered those soldiers just because of those gathered before the gate. Alegord had wondered why these people had gathered before the gate in the first place. He had wondered if the people inside the fortress were having issues with the villagers around the fortress. Maybe that would have been why Henry was trying to mobilize the soldiers so that they would go assist those. Fucking.
I think it's beating you. This chapter's beating you, man.
This thing has like the power of the Ring videotape, and it's finally killing me.
He just stopped responding. Mother?
But it's the book version of the Ring. Where it turns you into a monster.
Each letter just removes a neuron in my brain. Okay, let me roll back just a little bit to the last time the word wondered was used.
Some dang waffling on about like, oh, the threat, it is here, but I wonder what the threat is about. But the people in the gate know what the threat is about. I wonder if they know what the threat is about. What is the threat about? That's what's going on here.
He had wondered if the people inside the fortress were having issues with the villagers around the fortress. Maybe that would have been why Henry was trying to mobilize the soldiers so that they would go against those people before the gate. So, aside from my mental breakdown there, why would Alegord not know if there were issues with other villagers or villages? Because he has been there for both a couple days and a couple weeks, depending on what timeline we're going with.
It's just strange for him to think they'd even have a problem with them. They're in a pretty well guarded castle, or not maybe not well guarded, but at least it's built well enough. I'm assuming.
Is it? There were holes in the Great Hall.
Okay, well, you're right about that. Well, the bell's ringing for some reason. I guess he's thinking it might be the villagers, even though the way Henry said it sort of implies that it isn't. But just fucking tell him, Henry. What is this? Just tell him. Tell him why the bells are ringing.
Alegord had wondered why those people had gathered before the gate in the first place. He had wondered if the people inside the fortress were having issues with the villagers around the fortress. Am I going over something? Am I going over the same thing again? Yes, I am. Fuck.
Okay, I was about to say, it's getting up the app.
Yeah, I think I might actually be dying. Okay, there. That's where I last stopped.
It's a difficult job.
It fucking is. But that was a cruel thing to do. Alegord had thought of ways through which this could be solved. He was going to say something, but he could see that Henry wasn't done with what he had to say. He was going to wait for him until he was done with whatever he had to say before he made his suggestion.
He doesn't even know. Why does he want to suggest? He doesn't even know. He didn't say the village is a problem. He's already thought of a solution. Well, just fucking listen.
Yeah, they rung a bell. They all gathered. Henry says some, vague beginning to what he's going to say. Alegord's making an assumption on what he's going to say. He thinks that what he assumes he's going to say is fucked up, and he's going to say something about it and try and find a solution to what he assumes he's going to say, but he's going to wait for him to say what he's actually going to say before he says
something. At least he's doing that last part, because if he just blurted it out, I'd be like, there's something wrong here, Alegord. Not that something isn't. Is Henry just waiting after saying that beginning part, or is Alegord thinking a million miles a second here?
He can't be thinking that fast. We know Galahad and Askeladd. We know everyone has
all signs point to no
mental degradation. He knew how much of a difficult person Henry was.
Henry, just Henry keep talking, him. Henry. Stop letting Alegord think.
He had been warned by William when he first came to the castle. William had told him to be careful around Henry. No, he didn't. And William was right, after all. Alegord had been staying in the castle for close to a month, and he had been someone kept aside. the author
Yeah.
needs a fucking ghostwriter.
That's a difficult sentence.
Alegord had been staying in the castle for close to a month, which, for one, is just a new gap of time that hasn't been fucking mentioned.
The third time.
And he had been like someone kept aside, someone they didn't find much uses in, but there's no comma. So it should be read as, and he had been like someone kept aside, someone that they didn't find much uses in.
Yeah.
Which is fucked.
Also, they're trying to kill him. What is he talking about? Like, they found a use enough to kill him. He was a problem enough to try to kill him. So.
Earlier that morning, after breakfast,
How fucking out of the
he
dark
was
is it? That Henry tried to have him killed. Like, nothing that's happened here is even, like, confronted or explained that in any way.
No, it hasn't been mentioned again.
It's just like, go kill him. He's like, you can't kill me. I am too powerful. And then Henry's like, you dang son bitch. Okay. And then it just ended.
Earlier that morning, after breakfast, he was seated in the garden and having fresh air when Henry walked into the garden to disrupt his quiet moment.
This was like a Victorian lady. And it's some fresh air.
He had accused him of being useless in the castle, and that there was no need to have him around the castle. After Henry had said what he had said to him, he decided to work in the garden. He started uprooting.
It was true.
He just gives up.
I didn't know that. I thought you were just jumping to conclusions, but there it is.
Yeah, he just gave up. He was just like, fuck it.
He's even a terrible gardener, by the way.
He is the main character. He's the most important character, remember?
Yeah, are you sure he didn't just like blow on a seed and grow a couple trees out of it? He's got some power in him.
He started uprooting some of the weeds in the garden. He had worked about an hour before he heard the bell.
Oh my lord.
So he was just pulling on some shit for an hour.
He's just taking his time. It doesn't take an hour to pull 3 weeds out.
Well, we don't know the layout now. He might be doing like a whole field. Did he just get back from almost getting killed and then got some mean words and became a gardener? Was this like fucking weeks later? Henry just came out and started talking smack. And then he decided to become a gardener. He just woke up one morning, just walked out and said, "You're useless. You don't do anything around here." He said, "I want to be a gardener." And we just walked away.
The soldiers had been quiet and waiting for Henry to finish his speech. The people standing before the gate will soon be around their 100.
Well, as long as they're around their 100, that's at least they'll be prepared.
Fuck this author.
Is that supposed to be saying like they'll soon be around the 100 soldiers that are in the castle? I thought there was more
No,
than
because
100.
they're standing before the gate. How the fuck could they move further? They're not. The gate's shut.
Well, maybe they'll finally let him in like this. Didn't he say let him in? And before he starts going, I could have sworn he said let him in. Now they're locking him out.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure whenever that. Well, I don't quite remember the series of events, but I think like a guard ran and woke Henry up.
William woke him.
Oh, William, yeah, William. Then he might have, maybe, that's when he said, "Let the people in, we got a fucking problem," and then went and grabbed his lightsaber. We can cut through anything.
I don't see anything about that.
Okay. Might have
Could
been
be
before
wrong.
that.
Could be
Maybe
mis-
William said it to the guards at the gate. Maybe.
Oh, they let in like the first couple that were with William when he got there, but then they shut it again.
Well, they were being some real dickholes there. It's not a zombie invasion. It's a dragon. You can let the village in.
The people standing before the gate will soon be around their 100, and they could even amount to more. They're not standing before the fortress for anything.
So they'll soon amount to 100 people, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, but why would you ever phrase it like that? That is the worst
I wouldn't.
fucking phrasing.
We'll soon be around their 100.
That's terrible.
Like, I don't even know how you get that. We'll soon be around 100, maybe. That's like close to it, I guess. That's like combining. There will soon be around 100 too. They will soon be around 100. But they put the
I mean, like, I'm fairly certain he was just going for around 300, but he fucked up as per usual. But
oh yeah, that would have been okay. Oh yeah,
they're just standing around the 100 sign. That's all it is.
So it's their 100. It belongs to them. So I don't know what it would be. $100. It could be standing around.
There's just $100 bill sitting in between them.
Will somebody give it to the guards to let us in?
Or no, they're approaching to circle around the $100 bill. So they will soon be around their 100.
And Henry's outside. You gotta come up with more money than that if you want it.
They're not standing before the fortress for anything. They're looking for protection.
Yeah.
So they do want something, don't they?
Yeah. So what are you gonna do about it, Henry?
They're running. They're running away from danger, a danger that could crush them and leave only their bones within 10 minutes.
Why 10 minutes?
So it went from
that is a long time.
It went from Gluttony, like eating people whole instantly, like just into the mouth, gone, to he's attacking a village, and one of the villagers just stood around and watched him like eat someone for 5 minutes, and then only their bones were left.
That would have been terrible because it'd be like slowly sucking the meat off one of their legs while they're fucking screaming.
And now it takes 10 minutes. Gluttony's just getting shittier by the minute.
He's really the worst one.
That's 100 people standing around their 100. So
well, yeah. So, like, think about like
that'd be how we could do the math here. What's that? That's like
1,000 minutes. I mean,
they do them all.
They have enough time.
So it's like 20, 30 seconds a person. It takes a long.
We can't do that because it took him 5 minutes to get one person.
Hey, he could choose how long it takes. He could slowly suck the meat off one of the legs, or he can maybe just bite the whole leg and then wait like 10 seconds and bite another one. This thing's creative.
I gotta give you some spoilers here in the next paragraph. But what wild animal could leave only bones from a full human within 10 minutes? So yeah, 10 minutes is for one creature.
Okay. You got me there.
Like numerous animals.
He's nibbling now.
He is so hungry and so gluttonous that he's slowly doing it with patience.
He wants to savor that flavor. This is like your last chicken nugget. You might want to just eat it slow.
Yeah. Except, a demon would just be like, fuck it, I want more.
I'd say he's changed his nature already. We've seen it here. from 5 minutes to 10 minutes.
Yeah, he
What's
went
next?
from demon to retard. It's quite a shift in nature. Henry explained and then paused to see the effect he was saying. To see the effect what he was saying was having on the soldiers gathered before him.
Just tell him, Henry, what are you doing? Don't let Gallagher go into another one of his think-alongs.
Gallagher now understood what Henry was saying.
God damn it, Henry, just tell him.
It's also constantly shifting between Henry and Gallagher as the focus, like, again, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's just like
hell.
as soon as someone starts talking, it switches right to him.
Henry wasn't trying to fight the people. He had something else that he would most likely be fighting against.
But you'd know if Henry would elaborate for half a second.
Gallagher had wondered what this danger that was after these people could be.
Oh, my lord. Just wait, not thinking. You'll hear him tell you, hopefully.
It could be a wild animal. But what wild animal could leave only bones from a full human within 10 minutes?
Most carnivorous ones. Maybe.
A bear.
Okay, the bigger ones, like a bear, yeah.
A lion. There's tigers in this world too, so.
Yeah. Fuck, I can't wait until we get to sand dials.
Oh, man.
Gallagher couldn't get a clear thought around it. He just had to wait for Henry to be done with whatever he was trying to say.
There you go, Gallagher. There you go.
Also, how do none of them know? Fucking Henry and William saw Glutoni outside like 20 minutes ago in story terms.
Oh, they were up on
He's
the tower.
right fucking there.
Oh,
I forgot the tower's so fucking tall you can see like a country away.
Why didn't the freaking word spread from those two that came into the castle? Why is word not spread?
Why the fuck haven't all the people at the gate just been yelling, fucking massive demon, please Dragon! Inside?
Dragon!
You can't believe it if I tell you, Henry said as he started talking again.
That's
the worst has happened. Because if he tells them, they then can't believe it.
He's got to fucking talk around it. There's some charade stuff right here.
If we don't take care, it will consume us. Glutoni had broken out from the boundary of the Nylons, and he is in the village next to this fortress, destroying whatever life comes in contact with him. Henry then paused. The soldiers started murmuring. Some of them looked afraid. What they had just heard from Henry had never happened in the history of their kingdom.
Oh my god.
I think that, they've been up there the whole time.
They were humans, and Glutoni was a demon. Most of them had never seen Glutoni. They had only heard about him. Glutoni was a popular demon in most homes, even though most of those talking about him were yet to see him.
He's
He's
won the popularity poll many years in a row.
That's right. This is the second time they've talked about it. So he must be talking.
Why the fuck did William not believe... If everyone... Oh. Why did William go out into the fucking desert?
And then he didn't want to go to the wine house because they wouldn't have believed him. Who are these wine house fellows?
When a kid is crying and their parent is trying to make them stop crying, they tell them that they'll invite Glutoni over.
Oh boy.
Only
The
by
kid
Tony.
becomes afraid and stops crying immediately. No.
It only works. It only
No.
works like the
The
first
kid-
2 times.
Not even that. The kid wouldn't stop crying. You're threatening to murder them. They would start wailing.
Yeah.
When a child is doing something and their parents have been trying to make them stop, but they refuse to stop, their parents threaten them by telling them that they will ask Glutoni to come and visit them.
That's not the best
Glutoni's
parenting.
just a fucking Italian mobster.
We invite Tony over, he's gonna get you.
The kids stopped immediately. This was because they were all aware of a huge and scary creature known as Glutoni, but only a few people who were mainly soldiers had seen Glutoni.
Not those fucking Winehouse soldiers. They don't know anything.
Alegord had also heard about Glutoni, but he had never seen what Glutoni looked like. Henry could see that the soldiers were scared, and the first thing he had to achieve before Glutoni would get to the fortress would be to help these soldiers build their courage.
So all Galahad has to do is tell the king the Glutoni's out, and he'll know exactly because everybody knows about it. And we'll send all the soldiers. Is that what we're gonna see? Everybody knows about it, right? He's popular.
Well,
The kids are even scared because they're gonna invite him over.
I mean, I suppose so, but fuck. So everyone knows about Glutoni. Like, everyone does.
Tony's popular, eh? Everybody likes Tony.
But he's also a myth and a legend that no one has seen except for some people who have.
Yeah.
The king is and isn't aware of it, and his brother and or son, I can't remember how William is related, just doesn't know about it at all.
So they made a settlement with demons without the king's consent or knowledge. And they've been sacrificing bodies to demons without the king's consent or knowledge. Let's put it that way. Is this a cult? Is Henry a cult leader?
Maybe. I mean, he's quite a powerful man. He did go face to cord.
He did. If anybody's
in a blink of a second.
Blink of a second. There it is. My favorite phrase. Fucking blink of a second. It already means in a second, in less than a second, a blink of an eye. You don't have to say it in a blink of a second. That's just so hilarious.
Alright. Now, sweet fuck. Prepare for the worst inspirational speech
Oh, here we
you
go.
will ever fucking hear.
Henry, get them ready, Henry.
I mean, oh my god.
If this doesn't get you fired up, I don't know what will.
Him.
Let us feel the power, Henry. Come on.
Glutoni might be big and dangerous, but he is not in his territory. He has gone out of his comfort zone. And as soldiers, you know what it means for a soldier to fight within his home and in a strange land.
No. No.
When you fight within your home, you already know how to use the things around you to your advantage.
Dragons don't care.
You already know the places where you would be able to gather more strength and the places where you'll be the weakest. You can use this information to defeat your enemy, who is a stranger within your land. Your enemy doesn't know these things that you already know. They don't know where they might be in danger if they try to attack you.
Unequal
You
footing.
can set a trap. You can set a trap for them in a particular place, and they'll be standing on it without knowing. Why? Because they're in a strange land.
That's how traps work. You hide them.
Glutoni is in strange territory.
He's a demon. He's not a damn fucking regular soldier. He's a demon. It don't matter. He's not.
The Nylans, and it did highlight a double space for me, just in case you were curious, might be ours, but Glutoni had never left the Nylans, at least for over 2 centuries. So we know our way around here. And as soldiers,
the Nylans aren't theirs. They said the Nylans were theirs.
Yeah.
They aren't theirs. You don't own them. That's the demon land.
So we know our way around here. And as soldiers, we were taught to use everything around us to our advantage. We've good weapons, and Ludwig is here with me. If we're very coordinated, within an hour, Glutoni will become part of our history. We'll make history as the first fortress to hunt down a demon in over 200 years. So, my comrades, our history begins now. What say you? Henry asked.
I can't even with the 200 years. Can't even.
So, the 200 years breaks the timeline again.
Yeah.
Because the demons have never left. They have been doing this over and over, giving them corpses to sate them and let them continue.
Yeah,
so the demons have never left their territory.
They didn't fight them before they went up there either. They kind of went up there so now there has been a great human and demon conflict 200 years ago.
But this entire fucking speech is just saying, well, he's not in the desert now, and he's in our shit. So
we have the high ground. We have the high ground against the fucking demon. Look, if Henry thinks they can beat it, I guess we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, if you recall, Henry is perfectly aware that none of their weapons will do anything towards Glutoni.
Except his lightsaber.
Except for his Ludwig.
And a trap, maybe. Maybe a trap will do something. He's thinking about
it. You think they're gonna set up traps?
Hey, I would. Big old pitfall. Take fucking 10 hours to dig a big enough one. Maybe some bear traps under piles of leaves.
The soldiers now look courageous. They were now determined to face Glutoni. They cheered in acceptance of what Henry had said to them. The soldiers were made up of different groups specially trained for special operations. Some of them were trained to handle cannons. Some of them were trained to shoot arrows. Some of them were trained to use spears.
Why aren't they all?
And some of them were trained to use swords.
Okay, now that one, I think that one's a little suspicious. I think they should all know how to do at least one of those things.
That's too difficult.
You're a spearman, you're a swordsman, you're archers. Don't commingle. You have your own specialty.
Some were good at using 2 different weapons.
Oh, okay.
And there were some that were good at all the weapons.
Oh, there they are. There they are. The actual...
Alegord was good at all the weapons.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Well...
But he was better with a swords. This was after so many years of training and watching other people train. As a bastard son, he didn't have much opportunity like other noble sons, but he made excellent use of his little opportunity.
Yes, he did.
I just want that right there. In about 10 minutes, the soldiers were already heading to the gate, fully armed for war, depending on their specialized weapon.
That none of them will do anything against it, really. I'm ready to see. I'm fucking ready. I'm pumped. Henry got me ready. I want to see what they can do to this fucking thing.
I mean, they're on home turf. They have a lot of opportunities here.
Yeah, they do have advantage, so we'll see about that.
I just fucking love, like, 90% of the people here only know how to use one fucking thing.
Yeah. What are they
And
doing?
there's special operations, too. There's special operations. So what the fuck is a normal soldier?
Spec ops. Normal soldier knows how to use everything. Oh, God. We're special. We only know how to use one thing.
It's like normal soldiers only know how to punch things. They don't know how to do shit.
To be fair, using a spear is generally a little bit easier than swordsmanship because swordsmanship does take quite a while. It's like an actual skill.
Hey, they've been putting like 10,000 hours in. They might be experts in their one.
Well, I mean, agreed. There's a lot more like maneuverability and like stances and stuff that you would need to know to like use a sword properly in combat. Like I get that, as like compared to like a spear. But these people are the quote-unquote best of the best of this fucking.
Oh yeah, no, everyone should be masters of all weapons. Period.
That must mean they're like really good with their one weapon. They don't even have to like take turns training different weapons. They only focus on that one, except for some of them.
Yeah, but they've been just hanging out for centuries. They should be bored as fuck. They should be training on them just in case. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Oh, you know, there's always a chance to improve with that spear. Always a chance. Gotta keep pushing through till you reach God tier.
Glutoni was yet to be in sight. They're not on the high ground. They can't spot him. But they were already out for war, waiting for him until he showed up.
Okay, are they setting traps? Are they scouting? Are they doing anything except waiting for the fucking demon?
They're
he mentioned
waiting
traps.
for him until he showed up.
He fucking mentioned him. That's why I'm bringing it up. He mentioned traps.
What traps are you looking for? I mean, come on.
There's got to be a specialist who's only trained in traps. He doesn't know any weapon. He's just a trap specialist. He can set up a poisoned spear sticking out of the ground. That's good enough. Come on, just bury a couple poisoned spears.
Soon, the people gathered outside the gate started shouting. They looked terrified. The soldiers that had gone to the wall with their arrows now looked to know what was happening. They don't have bows. They just have the arrows by themselves.
Maybe they throw them. You think of that? Maybe they just throw them. We'll have some strange limbs in this world.
They sighted a giant monster from the far.
Another name for the islands, I guess. From the far.
It had just come out from the thick, bushy part, made up of woods, just from the village away.
It's a thicket.
I think that's a forest. Yeah, no, I think you forgot what a forest is called.
The gate had been locked, despite the people gathered there numbering in hundreds.
Okay, why?
Some people were still... they're standing there shouting now.
Honestly, if they just like use him as bait, because he can only kill one every 10 minutes, that's pretty good strategy. They could get a lot of hits in while it's eating one guy.
I mean, they could fucking do a lot of shit. They could probably sleep, wake back up, and there's still just some nibbles
What is
going
that, like
on.
a fucking thousand minutes for just 100 of them?
For 100, it would be 1,000 minutes.
Oh, that's long. That's like fucking long time.
It's 16 hours.
It's-
For 100 people, they could actually go to sleep, wake back up, and there would be more people lengthening the timer before Glutoni attacked.
People just like running up watching them eat people. Hey, maybe they'll let us in before we get eaten.
Glutoni was walking on his 4 limbs, so he was a bit slow.
Yeah.
This gave the soldiers more time to put everything in place.
He stood up on 2 legs. He fucking barreled through the whole castle.
Henry ordered the soldiers at the gate to open the gate. They opened the gate, and the villagers gathered before the gate, ran into the fortress.
Why? What are you doing, Henry? Like, is he taunting him? Taunting the fucking demon? Here's the people. Come get him. Go inside. Go inside.
4 uses of gate in that fucking sentence. Those soldiers that were in charge of the cannon now took the cannon out of the gate and then, moved it a bit away from the gate and then stopped.
Don't you have like cannon holes on the wall you can shoot through? Or would you have more range up high? I don't know. I'm not
What
a cannon
is range?
here. Well, we'll see, I guess.
They positioned it properly to face the direction from where Glutoni was approaching. The soldiers that had spears now moved and stood beside those that had cannons.
Okay.
So,
Where are the archers?
Unknown. Very much unknown. They're actually, no, because they went over to the gate, so they're on ground level at the gate. I guess waving people inside.
While the spearmen stand next to the cannoneer. I think he put the archers there. Because if he's still at a range, you can be able to shoot him. You know, it's like cannons, and then they get close enough to get shot by the archers, and then the spearmen come out.
Well, you would have both of those at the very fucking back. Because a cannon has a long range. There's no reason to have it out anywhere.
Well,
archers, again, they have range. They would be probably further towards the back unless they're trying to get, like, preliminary shots at the thing.
Well, I could see a maneuver where you're just, like, setting up, like, trying to get as close as you can to him instead of waiting for him to come to you. So you send the cannons to the front to start shooting at him right away, and then you draw him back as he gets closer so that you can keep shooting at him if they have more than one cannon. I don't know, it said the cannon.
I mean, I can see that for archers, because their range isn't as far, so you could, like, run up, fire some shots, and then pull back, whether on foot, which is faster in this world, or on horse, which would be faster in reality. So that way you could, like, move back and reposition yourself. A cannon would be a bitch to maneuver quickly.
Oh, yeah, it is. Well, they're specialized on that cannon, you know. They don't know any weapon.
They're focused on the cannon.
That's all they know. They better hit that thing first shot. They've been specializing on cannonry.
The next set of soldiers that came through were those with sword. Those with
came
sword.
Through what, the gate? Are they just like slowly funneling out? I thought they were all waiting outside the gate.
This is single file line. This is middle school logic.
I can't keep track of this battle strategy so far.
I'm going to switch over to paint and show how they're positioned once they all come out.
Oh, get ready.
Oh,
Get ready.
Alegord came out of the gate. He didn't know where to fix himself.
He's just grabbing his crotch.
obviously.
Not even that. He just walks outside looking up at the sky. I'm broken, God. I'm not a good character. Fix me. He wasn't wearing an armor, so he stood behind those soldiers that had swords.
What?
Holy shit.
I guess the gardener doesn't get his armor.
So he wasn't wearing an armor, so he stood behind those soldiers that had swords. Why?
That just sound like
Why?
a multi-sword. A sword.
Everyone's just holding a mini fucking Iron Throne. It's just like a fucking fan of swords.
We melted all our swords together to make them stronger.
But he was standing close to the wall. Henry then climbed to the top and stood by the wall. The soldiers were now ready for war, as they waited for Glutoni to approach and be within arrow range.
What about the cannon?
Fuck the cannon. Alright, so. Open up paint here.
That cannon really should be getting ready to shoot. It's probably the most powerful thing they got beside Ludwig.
So at the very top here, we have one cannon guy, which it said cannons before, but then it's later mentioned as one. And spears.
Probably want to break out that cannon guy, those other cannon guys. Probably gonna do more damage than a sword, spear, arrow, anything. Like really, that's the only advantage people have against fucking giant monsters. The ability to shoot powerful things at it, like cannonballs. Well, I guess arrows and stuff could do it if it was just like a regular dragon. They might eventually do enough damage, but it depends on the mythos. You know, like Warcraft, you could kill dragons with arrows and swords, but Lord of the Rings, those arrows didn't do a dang thing. You know, they had to get a special black dwarven arrow just to kill that sucker. I don't think swords or anything. Really. I guess it depends on the world.
Okay, so that is how they are positioned. They are positioned in straight lines, left to right. At the very front, farthest away from the fortress and walls and buildings and anything else, is a cannon man and a bunch of spearmen. Behind them are the swordsmen, and then all the way to the back, near the outer wall of Fort Clifton, is Alegord. On top of the walls is Henry, and then behind the gate, which is open, are the archers.
No, they should be on top of the wall.
They are never said to be on the wall.
They really should be.
The last thing we hear about them was a couple paragraphs ago when they were walking up to the gate when the gate opened.
I mean, it could work. Depends on how good those spearmen and swordsmen are, and if they use that cannon. We'll find out, I guess.
Well, think about it. They have to fire through the fucking, archway of the gate. And they are waiting for Glutoni to get within their range. And they're all the way at the fucking back.
Maybe they'll just decide on their own to walk out of the gate a little bit and make it a little bit better. We'll see if they start shooting. But I don't know how this battle's going to go. I got no expectations other than you reminding me that Henry said it is unbeatable by any normal measure.
Glutoni looked determined. He could see the humans standing ahead of him. They weren't running away from him. To Glutoni, when humans are not running away, it means that they want war. Even those that used to bring corpses to the Nylons used to be scared of him. They tried not to look at him and tried to stay away, even though they knew he wasn't allowed to harm them. These wanted war, and he would give them the best of it.
Sniffing and licking on and stuff.
Henry was watching. The whole soldiers were watching.
Not the half ones. The half soldiers had their eyes closed. They turned away.
The people that had taken refuge in the fortress were terrified. Alegord was watching. He wasn't scared of Glutoni.
Oh, we got a badass.
Glutoni was now close to reaching arrow range.
Archers!
Oh, fuck! They got bows! They got bows, holy shit. I have to fix something real quick. They suddenly got bows.
Hey, they didn't focus on the bows till now. They had them on their backs. They were holding their arrows.
Glutoni was now close to reaching arrow range. Archers, get ready, Henry ordered. Those who had arrows positioned their bows with their arrows properly put to their bow and then aimed towards Glutoni.
We got an effective weapon, a bow. It's working. They're doing it all properly.
They waited patiently for Henry's orders before they would release the arrow at Glutoni.
Hold! Hold! It's just eating everywhere. Hold!
He makes them have it reeled back for like an hour.
I've trained you for this. Hold!
Glutoni then entered within the arrow range. Henry remained quiet as he continued looking at Glutoni's approach. Everywhere was quiet. The only sounds they were hearing were the sounds of Glutoni's footsteps. Each step he made was heard from everywhere around the castle. Fire, he commanded the archers. Which, if I'm not mistaken, it was like release. Isn't that the proper term? It's like notch, pull, and
these aren't guns or flintlocks or anything, so there's no fire involved.
Yeah. I think it was like notch, aim, release. I don't... It's not fire. They shot directly at Glutoni, and most of the arrows landed on Glutoni's body. They bounced back and fell to the ground. It was like throwing a tennis ball at a wall. The wall would never get injured. Instead, the tennis ball might get damaged in the process.
What is that?
Well, I guess.
I've thrown a tennis ball at a wall. It just bounces off.
You do it enough times, it might scrape off a little bit of that fuzz. The arrows are probably going to break. Like most of them are going to break. It's not like a tennis ball.
The arrows caused no single harm to Glutoni. The soldiers weren't looking much bothered because they still had other weapons to unleash on Glutoni.
I'm pretty sure arrows are really powerful compared to like swords and spears. They can like punch through things at high velocity.
Cannons, get ready, Henry shouted. The soldiers responsible for the cannons were now waiting for the next instruction because they already had Glutoni on target.
Okay, there's multiple cannons again. Now, if these don't do anything, fellas, this is like fucking grenades not doing anything. You're not going to do anything with a sword.
Glutoni was still heading towards the gate. "Fire!" Henry shouted. Those in control of the cannons fired at Glutoni.
So that
shifted.
That one's correct, because they have to light a match and put fire to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
He shifted from the way.
Okay.
And the cannon fire went towards the woods.
Oh, God, he could dodge cannonballs now. Oh, no. Okay.
No, he didn't dodge. He shifted from the way.
Oh, okay. Like some spiritual powers shifting from the way.
I think he was trying to go for like a Dragon Ball, like near teleporting thing.
Instant transmission.
They continued firing the cannons, and some of the cannon fire hit on Glutoni.
Okay, did it do anything?
They only pushed him backwards and a bit off balance, but he continued moving to the gate after he had gained his balance.
Swords and spears won't do anything. All right.
You don't know that. You don't. The author doesn't know that.
Well, yeah. Okay.
The soldiers in charge of the cannons had been firing the cannons for about 15 minutes.
Jeez.
But the cannons could only delay Glutoni, not stop him.
How was he in arrow range for 15 minutes? Getting shot by cannons in arrow range. Like, it's kind of backwards, but, for 15 minutes, just standing there dodging cannonballs.
Yeah.
They would have to.
Well, he's on all fours. He is moving very slowly.
Well, I don't know. Well, yeah, but he came out of the woods, got within cannon range in an undescribed amount of time, or arrow range, and stayed there for 15 minutes dodging cannonballs and one volley of arrows that hit him. And he's getting hit by cannonballs too that whole time, because he got hit by a couple of them.
Yeah.
So 15 minutes of getting hit by cannonball.
By
There's nothing that can kill this thing that they got, except maybe Ludwig or Alegord. They are more powerful than a bunch of cannonballs, I imagine.
Yep. It soon became clear that the cannons were not effective on him. "Spears, get ready!" Henry shouted.
Jeez, incredible.
Those who had spears positioned their spear. Some of them were wondering what a spear would do to a creature that was able to withstand cannons, but they were soldiers.
Yes.
They were meant to follow orders.
I am one of those guys wondering.
Now, Henry ordered. Spears were thrown towards Glutoni, who was now close to the soldiers with cannons.
Are they supposed to be ranged weapons? I really don't think that's the main use of them.
No.
I was expecting a bunch of poking to happen.
Nah. Just nah.
No, that is so much less effective.
Spears were thrown towards Glutoni, who was now close to the soldiers with cannons. The spears got broken immediately after they landed on Glutoni's body. By this time, Glutoni was now close to the cannons. He took them and smashed them. The soldiers handling the cannons ran away.
Henry, you are terrible at command. You are terrible. You know none of this is going to work before the battle starts.
"Swords, attack," Henry commanded. The soldiers with swords rushed at Glutoni to attack him with their swords. The first soldier then came before him. He picked him from the ground and then put his head into his mouth and ate it up. He then threw the remaining part away and then charged at the soldiers who were hitting his limbs with swords.
No, not with swords.
The swords only made Glutoni feel even more provoked. They were not penetrating his body. Some of the soldiers that moved to attack Glutoni, he trampled them under his feet, threw some of them to the wall, and ate some of them. The way to the gate was now becoming somewhat clear.
Oh, God.
What? Yeah, Gluttony's only eating a couple of them.
Just a few. Just a few.
Takes too long to eat the whole thing.
He recognizes it's his own retarded fucking biology.
I just bite the heads off. I can toss them aside. I'll eat them later.
The way to the gate was now becoming somewhat clear, as the soldiers standing before Glutoni were getting diminished. It was at this point that Henry drew out his sword.
All right, let's see what you got, old man. What about Alegord?
Glutoni was focused on the soldiers around him, and Henry was going to use this to his advantage. The knights were standing beside Henry. Henry gave them an order. They all walked down from the wall and went to the gate, fully ready to attack, as Glutoni was still focused on the soldier.
These are like the 15 knights that they have at this castle.
Yeah, the 11 knights they had.
Okay. I couldn't remember. They might be more powerful.
Glutoni was now not too far from the wall, as he was getting closer to the gate. Even as the soldiers continued to delay him with their attack, Henry then climbed to the top of the wall. Just when he was sure that Glutoni was not looking, he dived into the air and then positioned Ludwig towards Glutoni's head.
Yum.
He planned to stab Glutoni in the head. Is a full sentence after that.
We kind of, that's inferred.
Just when he was still in the air, Glutoni sighted him.
No.
Before he could get the sword at Glutoni, Glutoni held him in the air and then flung him to the wall with great force. Henry landed on the wall, and Ludwig fell off his hand. Glutoni rushed towards the wall and picked Henry. He hit him on the wall twice, and then dropped him to the ground. Hurry was badly injured.
Who?
Hurry.
Must be one of the knights. Also, he fought Korg. He went face to Korg. This is nothing. There's literally nothing.
Hurry was badly injured. He struggled to breathe. Glutoni was now going to head to the gate. The knights blocked the way and then engaged him in a fight.
Here we go, the big boys. Here we go.
Alegord then rushed to Henry. He wanted to help Henry. "Don't touch me," Henry yelled at him as blood poured out from Henry's mouth and nose. "Don't touch me with your cursed bastard hands," Henry said.
There's a time and a place, Henry.
Alegord stood there, looking at him. He then sighted Ludwig. He walked sluggishly towards where Ludwig was lying on the ground. He then stood before the spot where Ludwig was on the ground. He was looking at the sword. Henry was lying on the ground, looking at Alegord. Alegord bent over Ludwig and picked it. The blade of the Ludwig started burning in flames.
Oh, God.
Only very few people that had held Ludwig could bring out the flames of the Ludwig. The presence of the flames meant that whoever that was holding it at that moment had been chosen by the sword, and particularly had a pure heart. Now, I don't know about either of you, but I don't think Alegord has a pure heart at all.
I'm gonna have to press X to doubt.
The man
He's a bastard.
has killed people.
He's a bastard, which is confirmed in this world means that you are the embodiment of evil. He has been shit at everything, allegedly. He has fought mimes. He has murdered a pussy. And now he's just taking a sword that belongs to someone dying in front of them.
Yeah, generally purity involves not doing most of that.
So the presence of the flames showed that Alegord had a pure heart. Soon the
Oh,
Soon the flames on Ludwig died off, but Alegord still had his eyes fixed on the sword. Henry was now dying, but his eyes were still fixed on Alegord. He hated that the sword had chosen Alegord.
Jesus.
He knew he was dying.
Come on, man.
What?
You're gonna be an old bastard till the end.
He knew he was dying, but he would have preferred it if the sword had chosen another person other than Alegord. To him, Alegord was a bastard son that was up to no good.
Oh my god!
You're a worthless bastard. Just start fucking talking shit to him. No, I'm not. I'm gonna kill Blue Tony.
He believed that bastard sons were not meant to have the same privileges as legitimate sons. It looks so out of place for a sword that he had wielded for so many years to pick Alegord as its new master. If he still had strength, he would have done everything he could to take the sword away from Alegord.
That man is full of hatred.
Henry looked so helpless. His hatred for Alegord tripled as he laid on the ground.
This is your this is your fucking dying moment where you're supposed to change your ways and fucking say, "Go kill the demon, man." You know?
No, he's just lying down, convulsing with rage.
Like, fuck this guy. I wish I could just take it from him. He's sitting there holding the flaming sword.
His hatred for Alegord tripled as he lay on the ground, watching him, admiring the sword he had in his hands. There was no single strength in Henry's body. He could only do one thing at that point, that he was breathing his last.
Jesus,
Wait,
it even
what?
takes an hour dying.
There was no single strength in Henry's body. He could only do one thing at that point, that he was breathing his last. That's not right English.
He's got
And that was
thing.
to curse Alegord.
Jesus, you already did. What are you doing?
His final thing is to curse him.
Like this came so out of nowhere, like at random times. He wasn't this aggressive when he first met him, was he? I don't remember that.
I mean, he was an ass, but that was about it. Like, he was just, like, I guess irritable.
Like, it's so
Like, when Alegord said something out of place, he got a little pissy. But he was
so
not to the point where he was like this.
Because he wanted to kill him out of nowhere, and then he came back and he just started talking shit to him, and now he hates everything about him again. But it was this fucking bipolar ass Henry.
The sword will be your ruin, and pains will never cease from being your companion. You. Henry struggled to continue cursing Alegord, but it was impossible at this time.
Get him, Henry.
He died.
Well, that would make it hard.
He was trying to, but it was a little difficult because he was dead. Plutoni suddenly stopped. He seemed to be perceiving the smell of people around the left side of the fortress. There was another village located there. Plutoni didn't express... What the fuck does... He seemed to be perceiving.
Maybe he was sniffing the air.
There is no frame you can use for that to make fucking sense. Like, no one... If you're fighting him, you're not going to be like, he seems to be perceiving something. You can't...
Well, I
And if
think,
you have like if it's the omnipotent narrator, you
yes,
fucking know he's smelling something.
yes, it's a combination of the narrator and Gallagher. Somehow it goes into this weird semi-state sometimes. It doesn't make sense.
Glutoni didn't experience opposition in the village that he had encountered before coming to the fortress. The fortress had put on a good fight, but they lost soldiers and some knights. Glutoni then turned to the left and started heading towards the village located left of the fortress.
What is
He
his
knew that
plan?
he wouldn't face much opposition there.
But cannonballs did nothing. Arrows did nothing. Henry did nothing. There's nothing standing in your way from eating all the villagers in the castle and all the knights and all the soldiers.
Yep.
And he said, fuck that. I've already defeated the opposition. Let me go somewhere where there's less opposition. But you're not having much trouble here. Fucking stay here and eat everybody.
Yeah, he just leaves. I mean, how is it even a good fight? They didn't injure him at all.
Exactly. He barely ate anybody. He just ate some heads.
He had tasted flesh and blood of people in the fortress. He needed that of people from other regions.
Okay. I guess
No,
just...
no, you can't do that either.
I guess
it's
curious.
Fucking glutoni. It's Italian gluttony. It's Italian gluttony. It's Italian gluttony. He should be eating all of them and then fucking off. No, he's just like, I'm good. He just fucking leaves. No. Just because he has a taste of one thing and going for another, no. Gluttony would have all the shit that tastes like that and then fuck off to something else.
If he is Italian gluttony, I would assume he likes pizza the most.
Well, we know that there's a France in this world. And we know that there are Greeks because of the fucking Olympics. There has got to be a fucking Italy in this world.
He just making pizzas to keep him fed. Oh, the author is just oh god, I'm so fucked up right now. Holy shit! I just dropped my controller. Woo! I'm okay though. I'm okay. I'll be okay. Don't worry. I'll be okay. out.
While Glutoni started leaving, William approached the gate from the inside. He looked around for Henry, but couldn't find him. He then saw Alegord holding Ludwig and looking at it. He then looked to the ground not too far from Alegord and found Henry dead. William ran towards Henry. He held him in his hands, not in his arms, in his hands, and started crying. The remaining soldiers and knights looked exhausted. Most of them were deeply demoralized. And that is the end of that chapter. So, only most of them were demoralized.
I am returned.
Did you fucking leave?
That's fucking right.
God damn it. When
That was a phone call.
Okay, so when did you leave?
We were talking about he was just about to go somewhere else, and we were talking about how he's an Italian Tony, so he should just eat everybody there.
Were you here for the pizza?
No.
Alright, because he's Italian gluttony, there should be an Italy. And given that we know that there is a France and a Greece, then we know that there has to be an Italy here as well. Somewhere in this fucked up world.
Alegord. This is just fucking alternate Earth, but I don't know what continent it's taking place on.
I'm just going to point out
I'm
that
seriously thinking it's
maybe
Hawaii.
Alegord is like retarded Atlantis. It's just out in the middle of the
There
ocean.
it is.
The go kill it.
Fucking Lemuria.
Just King Ramu's there. Oh God!
All right, so I think you were up. I think you were here all the way until like the last paragraph here.
Yes.
While Glutoni started leaving, William approached the gate from the inside. He looked around for Henry, but couldn't find him. He then saw Alegord holding Ludwig and looking at him.
William, you're finally here.
Yeah. I mean, there was this whole battle going on, and there was a bell ringing.
Henry died.
There was a meeting, and there was 10 minutes of preparing. You know,
There's 15 minutes of cannon fire.
oh yeah, 15 minutes of fucking cannon fire. No, he didn't know what the fuck was going
Those
on.
cannoneers must be practicing hard.
He then looked to the ground not too far from Alegord and found Henry dead. William ran towards Henry. He held him in his hands, not his arms, in his hands, and then started crying.
Oh, there's no fucking way. William, there's no way you're going to be crying over Henry. Come on. That old, bitter old man.
I mean, he was looking at the dick pretty hard, though.
He was.
Yeah. Something subtle going on here.
The remaining soldiers and knights looked exhausted. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them, were deeply demoralized. And that's how chapter 12 ends.
That was the battle, eh?
That was it. That was the most fighting in this story. That is the climax of this fucking book, or at least what was written of it.
Henry tried to fucking attack on Titan this thing and got swatted into a wall.
Just didn't go through.
He knew none of it was going to matter. He openly thought that none of their weapons would do shit to Glutoni.
Might as well.
But he did it anyway.
Might as well. Let's not all retreat to the capital when we know we have a little bit of time before he gets here. Let's all stand here and fucking fight this thing.